Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Welcome to Oyekanoluwole TV. It's a channel where we try to repair Nigeria, where we try to develop Nigeria. Yeah, I like you to know today that there is no nation that has developed and the development is tagged accidentally. There is no accidental development. The only thing that happens accidentally is weeds. If you want a garden, it must be purposive. It must be human effort. So that is what we are coming here to do today. We must understand that few people or a group of people must have the interest of Nigeria, must program themselves to develop Nigeria. And this is not only the country where such a thing is happening. This kind of thing happen in a whole lot of nations, like Aristotle developed his nation, Plato developed his nation, people Germany, that is people like Karl Marx, they focus on developing their nation. And that is what we are trying to do in this channel, to ensuring that Nigeria actually develop as it should. We are the citizens of Nigeria, and we must see to that Nigeria develop. Today, as it were, Nigeria is a poverty capital of the world. Now, what do we mean by poverty capital? It's a nation that harbor the greatest number of poor people in the world. This is not supposed to be so, because China is 3 times bigger than Nigeria, and we have India 3 times bigger than Nigeria. We even have USA more than 2 times bigger than Nigeria. That is USA population. Yet those nations is developed. So what is the causes of this phenomenon? Is it that we are too populated, 200 million people? No, that cannot be the fact, because we have 1.3 billion people residing in China. We have 1.3 billion people, and China has become the most developed and the most advanced nation in the world. So that cannot be the proof. So, but something is significant. Something must significantly be the proof why all those nations that we mentioned, especially China and USA, something is very significant. Some group of people actually came together, ensuring that the nation developed tremendously. Some group of people actually came together, begin to formulate policies, begin to change the educational system, begin to ensure that the political people, execute the right policy. Some group of people were willing to die, and that is what we are actually doing in this nation. So today we are going to be looking at repairing Nigeria. That is what this program is titled. Of course, we are talking about, in this August, we are talking about how will Nigeria be more developed than the most developed nation in the world in the next 20 years. How can so invariably we are saying that how can Nigeria be more developed than China? How can Nigeria be more developed than USA? And that is the whole essence of this program. That is what this program is all about. So today we are going to be in this very program that we tag Repairing Nigeria Part 3. If you are following, you will see that we have done Part 1, 2. Today is Part 3, Repairing Nigeria, or on a mission to repairing Nigeria. So, however, we want to narrow down on the value system that must change in Nigeria before we can develop. That is what we are trying to narrow down today. That is what I will be talking about today. What are the practical value system that must be changed, that must be fixed, that must be modified for Nigeria to secure a positive development? Of course, before I start enumerating the value system, the core value system by which Nigerians were built upon, I want to first of all let everyone know that every good thing that you see in every nation was made by somebody or a group of people. Every good thing you see in any nation is made by somebody. It's not accidentally done. Any development that you see is made to happen by some people who understand, who study, who do some research, who are able to go into the foundation of some problem and come out with solutions. That is every development. Now, I like you to know the second thing that I want to develop is that today is that any nation that is backward, it is not accidentally also, it is some activities, some doings, some acts that make them backward. And if those acts can be fixed, if those things could be changed, this nation would definitely experience tremendous development. And so, like for instance, let's say Nigeria is developed. Of course Nigeria is developed. Of course Nigeria is backward. Of course Nigeria is houses the greatest poor people in the world, the greatest number of poor individuals in the world. So we must know that a whole lot of things is wrong. We must first of all appreciate that a whole lot of things is wrong with our value system, the way we operate, the way we take action, the way we implement things. We must come to appreciate that because Nigerian is poor, because every leader is taking Nigerian backward, because almost nothing is working in Nigeria. Nigerian is beyond repair. If you ask anybody, we must know that things is wrong with us. We must acknowledge that some things is wrong with us. But what this program is meant for is that it is not only for we to acknowledge that some things is wrong with us, the way we think, the way we act, the value system we inculcate, what we express. This program goes ahead to tell us things that are wrong and things that we must put in place to develop Nigeria. So that is what this program is all about. I'd like you to know that any accident have a cause. If you trace any accident that have ever happened, it have a cause. And the same thing, any successful accident have a cause. So these are the assumptions that we must know, that we must have in our mind today before we go into this. Now let's go. I like us to know that in the process of building Nigeria or fixing Nigeria, the values, the scientific evidence must be taken with utmost priority. Scientific evidence must be taken with utmost priority if we must fix Nigeria, if we must change Nigeria. Scientific evidence, scientific procedures, scientific advancement must be taken with all priority. Now let's see something. We all know that it's like Nigerian is destroyed. Nigerian is nothing to write home about. If Nigerian is not destroyed, we have 17 million Nigerian in diaspora. They interview most of them. No one of them said they will come back to Nigeria. Can you imagine that? All the people who have escaped out of Nigeria, I'm talking about Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerians in abroad, when they were interviewed in a whole lot of videos, none of them agreed that they will come to Nigeria alive, still breathing, because of insecurity, because of poverty, because of a whole lot of things that will be said today, injustice happening and all those kind of things. Among 17 million Nigeria, no one, or extreme few, not up to 100,000, agreed that they will come back to Nigeria. What a shame. If the nation was good, if everything is good in the nation, why would a citizen be running out? Now you definitely run out from where things are not okay to where things are okay. For instance, I am living in the house now. I'm not living in the bush because there will be mosquitoes, there will be ants, there will be animal. Some animal could be contending to eat my flesh. That's why I came to the city where things are guided, where animals, carnivorous animals that could consume flesh are put at bay, are taken at bay. They are being controlled. That's why we are here. So now we are going straight to know that Whenever there is destruction in the world, God often uses scientific method to solve it. Let all of us know that God is a dual nature. We in Nigeria, we believe so much that God is a miracle provider. God will show favor. God will show grace. But God is a miracle provider. God told Noah that you will make an ark, and this ark will save you from destruction. We remember the flood that wanted to happen. And God said, it is an ark that you will make that will rescue you from all this destruction. So science means making, technology means creativity, and so destruction was coming to the whole world. And God said, Noah, you will make an ark, and this ark will rescue you and your family and every living thing that cares to enter. It will rescue them out of the destruction. That is the way. Also, we saw that God told Moses that you will take this rod with you, wherewith you will do signs and wonders. Also, we saw that due to the interpretation, due to the knowledge that Joseph had, Joseph was able to save the whole world when there was huge famine, such that people were eating one another. Due to the knowledge of preservation, due to the knowledge of conservation, due to the knowledge of, all those kind of scientific evidence, that was how Joseph was able to save his entire generation. Genesis chapter 41, the last verse 59 or 57, he said, and the whole world came to Joseph to buy corn, because the land was so sour. The whole country came to Joseph to buy corn, because he applied some scientific evidence of corn preservation with preservation. And so that is why we must acknowledge the fact that whenever there is destruction, whenever there is extreme poverty, God is intending, God, among numerous solutions that will be available to man, scientific evidence, scientific findings, scientific discovery, technology will be among the top. So that is what we are talking about today. Now, what is scientific evidence? What is the scientific proceedings? Of course, we have, first thing among the scientific proceedings is observation. If there is any problem, the first thing that anybody who understands science does is clear observation. You observe the situation. For instance, let's take kidnapping. A real person who understands scientific evidence will not just assume that it is only the Hausa Fulani, the bandit, that kidnap. He will also look at all perimeters. Could it be PDP trying to implicate APC because APC is in the power? Could it be this? That is when you will come out with facts. Could it be some poor people that are trying to kidnap for food? You will not just assume that it is only banditry, only the Fulani X-Men. That is observation. That is, you go to police. For instance, if you have police in Nigeria will not just say it's only banditry, just like the way a layman will say, because they will have fact of some Nigerian involving in all of these things. So this is what we are talking about, observation. Now you begin to ask question. The next thing after observation is questioning. You begin to question the happenings. Why is this thing happening like this? Why is this thing working like this? Why is this thing not working like this? That is questioning. You begin to question, and anywhere that you are stopped from questioning, you have been reduced to animal in that kind of settings. Anywhere that the philosophy there is don't question, don't counter, don't ask question. In that kind of setting, you have been reduced to animal. You are like mad person among human beings. The way mad people are treating this day in Nigeria, and anyway, that is how you are, because you have been reduced not to ask questions. So the next thing after asking of question is development of hypothesis. When you develop hypothesis, you start coming up with, could this be the answer? You begin to postulate a whole lot of answers. Could this be the answers? That is the development of hypothesis with respect to solving the problem confronting a nation. Now let's take one problem in Nigeria. Let's say a tank that fell down in close to Obalende. We begin to say that could this tank, what could be the thing? Could it be that the driver is drunk? The driver must be drunk, so we provide the answer to that. The road must be narrow, so we try to expand the road. There could be hold up when the truck driver, when the fire bursts out of the petrol tank, so and it lead to the damage of lives and properties of other passers-by vehicle. So there could be hold up there. So you begin to come out with a lot of assumption. It is assumption that we call hypothesis. You begin to assume things, but when you now go to take questionnaire, when you now begin to take questions, ask questions, come out with findings, and begin to go into laboratory, dissect it, that's when we call experimentation. And that is the next step of scientific findings. You begin to experiment, you go there and ask people, you begin to take notes. How often do accidents happen on the road? How often, let's take poor people for instance, what is the real cause of poor people? You begin to go and ask the poor people themselves. That is experimentation. You begin to get primary and secondary data in order to tackle that kind of problem. Then after experimentation, we have what is called theory development. Now theory development is after you have collate and analyze the data. Analyze the data means that you now begin to analyze. You now see one cause of poverty. One general cause of poverty could be laziness. So you will now begin. That is what we do in this channel. We now begin. We believe that the cause of Nigerian total failure is value system. Our value system is wrong, and that is why Nigerian is failing. That is why everything is going backward, and that is what I believe, and that is what I am trying to do, trying to fix some value system in Nigeria. But however, in terms of poverty, you could notice that hard work and opportunity. So that is what is called data analysis. When you analyze the data, you may realize that out of 50 points that people bring is summarized and aggregated to hard work and possibly research, opportunities, no opportunities. It could even be injustice. You could go and research and discover that injustice, nobody is paying attention to what is happening, whether the right thing is happening to the poor people, whether they are being oppressed, whether the small money that they use to start business, whether tax is collecting, whether some people are borrowing it and not giving them back, whether it could be that. Because how did China develop? China actually developed by focusing on extreme poor people. USA actually developed by focusing on extreme poor people. So when poor people advance, when poor people develop, we say that the nation is developed. When poor people become rich, when poor people are swamped into wealth, we say that the nation is developed. But in Nigeria, we say that Nigeria is developed now. What happened? Go to Banana Island, you will see rich people. So we judge it in Nigeria. We judge wealth in Nigeria by how people buy car. We don't judge wealth in Nigeria by how people who were eating rice could not eat rice today but drinking garri. We don't judge wealth in Nigeria by how people who could go to hospital before cannot go to hospital now. We don't judge wealth in Nigeria by how people who could survive before can't find means of survival again. So this is not the right way. So that is scientific evidence. And then we must not joke with the findings of science. So all our research work that end up in our lecturer or HOD shelved should not be like that. HOD shelved, they told us to, when I was doing master's degree and first degree, they told us go and print 4, go and print 8, then keep 2 years, take 1 to this thing, and that is when you have graduate. That is what they say. So nothing concern anybody with implementation, no implementation of knowledge, no education. Anywhere that education, especially scientific evidence, is reduced, the development in those kind of place is put at bay. So there must be value for education. I know of a boy today, I'm talking about how Nigerian is reduced. I know of somebody today who has won cowbell competition, is among the top. I know him, Samson. His name is Samson, and he's my friend. And yet, after he won cowbell competition, he did jam once and pass it. Yet he cannot afford to sponsor his education. So this kind of phenomenon that we don't pay much respect. Imagine that I was able to win Nollywood actor. Imagine that I was able to win making people laugh. He would have become very rich. But when he won cowbell competition, nobody knows him, nobody regard him. Now, how will a nation develop when education is put at bay? So, ladies and gentlemen, now let's go and list the value system that is supposed to guide Nigerians. I want to go now and list the value system that's supposed to guide Nigerians. Now, this value system is gotten from Nigerian anthem. I got this value system by myself from Nigerian anthem and Nigerian Nigerian NYSC anthem. Now we are going to listen to that, and I'm going to be pausing it and be explaining some terms. Now let's sort of us go to Nigerian anthem and see some of the value system. We said, arise, O compatriots. So one of the value system is strength, willingness to arise. O compatriot. Compatriot simply means love to your nation, love. So these are the things that Nigeria is supposed to build up. Patriotism, compatriot, like that, it's supposed to mean strong love to your nation. Now, but let me go ahead and mention this stuff first. We have diligence. So after I got it, let's hear the anthem first, the NYSC anthem, and let's see what it's talking about there.
Sun or in the rain, with dedication and selflessness, Nigerians are Nigerians we serve. Members take the great salute, put the nation's first in all, with service and humility, NYC for the noble youth, make Nigeria a great nation. Far and near we come to serve and to build our father's land with boldness and loyalty. NYSC for unity. Hail Nigeria, a great nation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome back. We saw that the whole essence was patriotism. So I continued now. I said, arise, O compatriot, Nigerians call obey, to serve our father's land with love, strength, and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. Now, what is the labor of our heroes past? We saw our labor. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa, all those people, they sacrificed for the nation to have independence. Some of them died in the process. Some of them was humiliated. Some of them was locked up in cell. But yet the nation gained independence. So we must continue with the strength, with the resilience of those kind of people. Now let's go straight and begin to mention. Number one, diligence. every Nigerian must inculcate in them to work extremely hard. The system must program Nigeria to work hard. Number one, diligence. Number two, brotherhood, caring for people. Brotherhood mean caring for people. I would take brotherhood, love, caring for people. You know, nobody is caring for anybody as it were. Nobody's actually caring for anybody. Action. Nigerian is known with action, but is this action positive action? Of course, it's not many Nigerians are taking this action. One, purposively. Two, positive action. Positive action like to see that problem is resolved, to see that public properties is not being in jeopardy. Positive action to see that your brother does not, you can do something to help, but your brother is not. Positive action to see that you become entrepreneur, start business, support other people. Action. Just yesterday I opened 2 YouTube for people, just for them to start to make money like me. Resilience mean persistent to succeed. Continue to persist, continue to press until you see success. So that is one of the value of Nigeria. Obedience. Now, we all must acknowledge that obedience to rules and regulation is what will make Nigeria develop. If you go to developed nation, you see how they obey traffic rule, you see how they obey law, you see how they obey the anthem, the values of the nation, you see how they obey some rules. It was Mother Teresa that said that if everyone keep his environment clean, the world will be a clean place. That is what Mother Teresa said. If everyone make his environment clean, the whole world will be clean. And the same Mother Teresa said, if everyone take care of poor people around them, the whole nation will be free from poverty. So this is the value system by which nation should be built upon. This is the value system. That is what we mean by resilience. Obedience. Now we talk about patriotism. Patriotism, when you interact with any Americans, with any China, you see the love, the patriotism, the willingness to serve his nation, the willingness to protect public properties. You will not assume that because the government have put these facilities, yes, so it should not be maintained. That is one aspect of patriotism. That is, the public properties is protected. That is what we are talking about with respect to patriotism. Another value system that should make Nigerian develop, that is one of the fundamental basic for Nigerian development, is stewardship, service. Are we ready to serve? So this is what we are talking about here. Service, especially service to the poor, and service to when it is like law, like legitimacy, like we all jointly agreed, before law can be formed. I studied theories of laws. Before law can be formed, we must have what is called ethnic group must come together to ensure that law is formulated such that it does not affect one aspect of ethnic group and don't affect the other aspect. So law, we must, stewardship, service. But today I want to talk about something unique about service. Service is primarily to the poor, to those who are powerless. So that is, we that can read, we that are educated, we that are elite must take the responsibility to be serving the needy, the marginalized, the homeless, the motherless, the strangers, the visitors. We must take absolute responsibility to be service. Now, but today, what do we see? We have service, but we are serving for our egocentric need. We are serving the rich. We are serving we are serving people with money. Nobody have interest to serving the poor. This cannot make Nigeria develop. Like I said earlier on, every developed nation measure their development based on poor people that come out of poverty, not rich people that become richer. No, that is not how nation is developed. Nation is developed. Go to USA, calculate their development index, study their development index. It is how many people you were able to brought out of poverty that is the kudos that goes to you. That is the development that goes to you. That is the that is the applause that you seem to get. But In Nigeria, we say Nigeria is developed now. Go to Banana Island. People are buying private jet now. We don't consider development in Nigeria based on the poor people that emerge, that we lift out of poverty. Another aspect is strength to take action, strength for mental strength. Of course, we have strength. A lot of us have strength, but we lack mental strength, ability to think, ability to analyze situation, ability to go in, use scientific method, get into a situation and come out with the problem. You see, let me tell you something. Everybody who is educated, how do you know somebody who is educated? How do you know an elite? An elite must believe three things. Number one, an elite must be a questionnaire, somebody who asks question, somebody who question everything, question the culture, question the religion, question almost everything. That is somebody who is educated. Number two factors for you to know who is educated is the person must believe in cause and effect. The person must not over believe in things like witchcraft, in things like luck. He must believe that to everybody who is successful have some principle that people who are not successful don't know. Every result that you see around you is because some people know some things that other people who did not achieve those results should know. That is the philosophy by which every educated people then everybody who is educated must able to provide solutions, theory or practical solutions to every problem. Those are the evidence of or proof of being educated. Honor, another factor by which Nigerian is built upon, or by which Nigeria is supposed to build upon, is honor. But what we see today is that we have honor, but we honor those who we honor. Our honor is in form of psychopaths. Our honor is in form of we honoring people who can help us, we honoring people who can give us things, we honoring people who all those kind of things. But honor should go to anybody who is just the nature of God, who just carry the image of God. That is who honor. As so long as you are a human being, there should be, we call it fundamental human rights, and that is where this honor come in place. Fundamental human right to live. So if you really honor people, if you really love people, you will not engage in jungle justice. You will not engage in destroying other people. If you really honor people, that is what we are talking about here. Honor to everybody, especially to the poor. But this is not really in Nigeria. We must start to honor and love each other. Now, freedom, another aspect by which Nigerian is built is freedom. Now, this freedom here does not mean freedom to do anything, but there must be freedom to start business, freedom to be educated. That is freedom to move, freedom to access justice, freedom to, because if I start my business with 20,000 naira and somebody come and destroy the business, maybe somebody borrowed 10,000 naira from the business, and I cannot take justice, there is no access to justice. Now tell me, how will the business develop? That is why a whole lot of little business failed. Another aspect of Nigeria is peace. Peace, the last phrase of Nigeria, this thing is peace and unity. Peace. Now, a whole lot of people don't desire peace. We don't, the peace that we are talking about is, we are not really high on peace in a whole lot of ways. How to maintain peace, how to keep peace, it is more better for you to maintain peace than for you to be a violent or troublesome, because that is how development comes to society. Another most important value of society, of what develop a nation, is truth. Truth. Now, what is truth? Truth is foreign to most of us. Lie is so common in Nigeria. Politicians will promise and not execute. Truth is far, somehow far to many Nigerians. Now, and we know, in fact, even pastors that are supposed to be a custodian of truth we often find them lying. So what about the ordinary members, ordinary people who are not even, which we assume that they are not very close to God? Truth must be. Now, what does truth mean? Where there is truth, there will be science. Where there is truth, there will be science. Like if I say 2 plus 2 is 4, and we all know that 2 plus 2 is 4, but somebody, because he have money, because the person is rich, because the person have political power, he come and say 2 plus 2 should be 8. Now there cannot be development in that kind of society, because that would thwart industry. The measurement that is supposed to use to calculate the length of machine before the machine could work is being obstructed by somebody, so that will make the machine to malfunction. And it is because machine work that there will be development. It is because human being, focus on truth, that there will be society transformation. So that is how valuable truth is. That is how valuable your yes should be yes, your no should be no. Imagine that there is no truth. It will discourage foreign investors in the nation, because the foreign investor want a society that there is loyalty, that there is honesty, that there is integrity before they will come and invest in that kind of nation. Nobody would like a society that you will go and invest and tomorrow your investment goes down the drain. That kind of society would not encourage development. So truth, we should be high in truth in this nation. Another aspect of development is justice, but I would not say justice. Yes, justice is Nigeria, but justice is basically to the rich. But we should disintegrate that justice such that we should disintegrate justice such that it encompasses and goes to the poor. Progress and development. That is the next thing I will be talking about. Progress and development. Now, we are not high on development. We believe so strongly that as it was 200 years ago, so it should be forever. That is what we believe in this nation. So as it was for long, so it should be. So a lot of people are afraid of change. Progress and development is not really our take, but of course the youth are trying to do good, because the youth are developing, the youth are moving society forward. So progress and development should be in all our culture. Militants, another one that I want to talk about is militants mean force, the power to ensure that you pursue a vision still the vision happen, the power to ensure that you put everybody at bay until you achieve the vision. Now the last thing that I want to go and develop is what are the steps, or how do we start to implement this policy. There are 5 social structures. I like you to know that we implement policies by changing social structure. We implement policies by changing social structure. Now, what do we mean by changing social structure? Social structure include the media, social structure include the religion, social structure include entertainment, social structure include politics, education, religion. So those are social structure. So if we must implement all what I have talked about earlier on, we must understand that our social structure must be altered. So for instance, let's take artwork for example. Let's take artwork for example. For instance, our media, our musician must start to talk about hard work. Our musician must start to talk about hard work. Our pastors must start to, our musician, for instance, you jaye, all those kind of song of enjoyment, champagne, all those kind of things must be replaced with work and diligence, must be replaced with calculation, scientific. We must start celebrating. Our media house must start celebrating, or our church must start celebrating those with mental excellence, those who come out with findings. We must find a way to be celebrating those in university who come out with amazing findings in their final year project. That is what we are talking about. The church, the media house must not celebrate those who, what fueled the media house today is comedy, doing like mad people. just making people laugh, doing like somebody who is drunk. Now that is what we are celebrated. That's what we are celebrating. This should not be. A boy doing like a girl. Those are the things that we watch and see every time. This should not be what should be celebrated. What should be celebrated should be hard work, integrity. Those who achieve success, and their success can be traceable. The way they achieve it could be explainable, could be measurable. So that is how to implement all those factors that we talk. Now, education, every school should start propagating this form, all those things that I mentioned earlier on. Every school should start to imbibe it. Teachers should start practicalizing it. Students should start executing it. It should become law, national, as a matter of national policy. It should become national policy it should become national policy that, for instance, labor, honesty, integrity, love, brotherhood, all those positive values, hard work that will lead a nation to develop should be inoculated in schools, inculcated and nurtured, make to happen in working place, in church, in market, in entertainment, in music, in all those kind of place. Now, politicians now have a big role to play because they own the society generally. They must ensure that this thing is passed into law and this thing is being enforced. All those positive values that I enumerated is being enforced in the society. Obedience is, obedience, the people comply to it. The citizen comply to this rule. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I will bring this teaching to an end. Finally, we must love the poor. We must care for the needy. We must take care of those in need. That is the whole essence of religion. That is the whole essence of why God came into place. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Help me to share. Tell people about this program. Help me to share. And if you want to call me, because I have some online business that I will be teaching, that I have even taught in this same program. If you want to call me to learn, if you want to learn how to open YouTube and monetize your YouTube and start make money, you can call me on 070 4078 0689 070 4078 0689. Thanks and God bless you.